Good morning, everybody. Right, today I'm going to talk about giving up my phone. Yes, I do not own a mobile phone. Don't call me a freak, don't call me weird. It's true, it is true. I gave up my phone about 7 years ago. I'll give you a little insight on how I got there and some of the reasons why. Obviously, we all got our phones, late 90s, early 2000s. I was at university. 1997, I believe. 1998 I got my first phone. Late 97. Yeah, it was the end of 97. Got my first phone. 150 free minutes to call anyone on the same network. Little text messages, I will see you, the letters, trying to save some space, save some money. And Snake, good old Snake, that 16-bit wonder. Anyway, was it 16-bit? Might have been even less, I don't know, correct me on that if I'm wrong. But anyway, so I had my mobile phone, it's 3 minutes, and it was all very exciting. And in the beginning I didn't use it so much to call, but soon after a while at university I became the captain of the basketball team. And it meant a lot of organising, a lot of phone calling, and I used to use my phone for good chats, like 10, 15, 20-minute chats to people. And I used to notice my ear would warm up, it would heat up, and well, that's a bit worrying. I'd swap the ears, and you're just like, well, maybe it's just because I don't know. You just come up with excuses, and my ears, just getting warm because. I don't know. Yeah, well, it's not. It can't be dangerous. It's probably fine. And I studied computer science, and there was a guy on my course who had this like weird sticker on his phone. And I asked him about it. He said, "Oh no, these things are dangerous, man. Microwave technology. They've taken what cooks your food and given it to you to put in your pocket and put by your head and talk to people." So he had one of these shields. Not sure how much it did, but he was convinced that mobile phones would be sold with warnings like cigarettes. So that was my first sort of realization, or my first moments of realizing that maybe these things aren't as safe as as we're told that they are. Then I used my phone, but not to the extent that we use our phones today. For sure, and I kept a phone. I went traveling. I went to Japan for a year. I didn't actually have a phone in Japan. I lived with my landline. Then when I got back to England, I got another Nokia, something cheap, the same sort of thing. Maybe it had Snake 2 on it. Pretty cool, eh? And again, text messages and all that. And then my dad came home from work. He told me a story when he'd come from his office, and there was a guy who'd just had an operation. He just had a lump removed from the outside of his chest, like in the skin area of his chest, just below his left pectoral, left nipple, sort of around that area. And he just thought, it's getting old. I've got a lump. They took it away. It was not really a problem. And when he went back to work, he was in the what's it called, the conference room, having a meeting, and he leant over the table to pick up some paperwork, and as he stood back up, the mobile phone in his pocket banged straight against his lump, and he's like, oh jeez, okay, maybe that's something. And then I got into the habit of carrying my phone in my back pocket. I used to carry it in my back right pocket, and I said, my butt cheek feels weird. It felt like I'd been sort of jabbed in it, and I had like this kind of mild bruising in it. So I stopped putting my phone in my back pocket, and for even 6 months later I could still feel this kind of spot in my right buttock. So I was more, I was becoming more and more conscious of that these things aren't really exactly what they say they are. These sort of harmless devices that we can carry around with us. I've not had my butt cheek checked out. It doesn't hurt anymore, so I'll keep an eye on it if any lumps do grow. So the moment I gave up my phone wasn't actually a conscious effort to give up my phone. It was actually a conscious effort not to buy another one. I'd gone skiing here in Catalonia, up in the Pyrenees, back when I didn't have a car. I used to get the train and a bus up to the ski resort and use the lockers there. At the end of the day, I was just changing, and I just put my phone up on top of the locker, and obviously someone had seen me, and as I had my back turned, they just swiped my phone and took off with it. So thank you, whoever took that. I hope you enjoyed Snake 2 and reading my exciting text messages. Hope you made a few crank calls to my contacts. That would have been brilliant. But anyway, you know, so that was it. My phone was gone. So do I go out and buy another one? I mean, this is talking now 2010, 2009, maybe even before that, actually, thinking about it. Maybe I've been longer than 7 years. Man, time flies. But anyway, it's been a long time without a phone. No smartphones. I don't think the iPhone was out, so you can check the dates on that and see when I actually gave it up. Now, have I had problems not having a phone? I can tell you that the first year was you know, a little bit tricky. I would leave the house, especially the first few months after I still thought I had a phone, or still had the option to have a phone. So I'd rush out of the house to go and meet somebody. We'd arrange to meet, with me phoning from the landline, obviously, and I'd be on the way to the station or whatever, and I realised I haven't taken his phone number, or that I'm going to miss the train. So I had to go home and get the phone number, write it down on a piece of paper, or memorise it. Actually, I've memorised quite a lot of phone numbers now, so that's one positive side effect of this is it's good practice for your memory. And a few times, you know, it'd be useful to be able to phone or to look up, you know, the maps or something, and you know, all these things on smartphones. I had to use my wife's occasionally, but not really. So. Anyway, so yeah, so I had a few problems there the first year, I'd say, but people then started to learn that they couldn't change plans on me. If we said 2:30 at this park or at this bar or whatever, then it's 2:30. You know, it's like you can't text 15 minutes before and say, oh, why don't we go here, or why don't we do that? No, we've made a plan, you got to stick to it, I'm afraid, with me. Well, you don't get to see me, I guess. We don't see each other, and I'll go to the bar by myself. Yeah, so since then I've lived without a phone, maybe not completely for health reasons, but also for contact. I don't like being contactable all the time. But that's, you know, it's a different side of things. The health side that I got into, I was thinking about this and how I actually got into studying the effects of EMFs, so electromagnetic fields, radio frequencies, ultra low frequencies, which gives you magnetic fields, and those effects on our health and well-being. But I got into studying with a guy called what's his name, Lloyd Burrell, electricsense.com. He's an English guy who's actually he's sensitive, I can't remember what it's called, he's sensitive to electricity. He physically cannot have a mobile phone around him. He doesn't have Wi-Fi on his computer, and he's completely reduced the EMFs in his life. I took his questionnaire, which was you know, to name, have you got a mobile phone tower within 400 meters of your house? Have you got a mobile phone? Do you use Wi-Fi? Do your neighbors have Wi-Fi? I'll put a link maybe down. Yeah, I'll put a link down to this questionnaire in wherever you put it, in the comments bit. So I'm a bit new to us there, a bit new to this. So yeah, so I'll put and basically you answer these questions, yes, and you're trying to get the, you know, obviously you can't get 0. You know, you can't. If you live 400 meters from a tower, you live 400 meters from a tower. But the importance of this is the accumulation effect and how we can reduce those things in your life. And when I was studying this, I started to notice I get serious headaches I had Wi-Fi in the flat, and I was using a laptop computer, obviously with the Wi-Fi antenna about 30 centimeters from my head. And at the beginning, in the first hour or so of working, you don't really notice, but soon notice that as the day went on, I'd always get this headache about here, and it'd feel like someone's just drilling through my head. And so when we changed the internet providers, the guy was like, we're going to stick the router in here, and I'm going to stick in it. And I'm like, no, we're going to hardwire everything. And yeah, I kind of killed his afternoon because I made him put in about 60 meters of cabling rather than putting his Wi-Fi, can't think of the word is now, but like connectors from the router to the television. So yeah, so it completely took out Wi-Fi. I do have a Wi-Fi router at home. It's one of the few on the market that you can physically turn off, and I don't have it on. I occasionally put it on to use my wife's mobile phone to WhatsApp the grandparents occasionally on a call, but that's about it. I've moved out of the city, as you can see. I'll just pan around a little bit here. Some people comment I'm always outside. Yeah, I've moved to the woods. I don't have Wi-Fi, I don't have a mobile phone. My wife's got a mobile phone. We don't have a microwave. We don't have wireless printers. I don't have a wireless mouse. I don't have a wireless keyboard. Everything's connected. I do live within 400 meters of a tower. I nearly didn't buy the house because of it. There's actually 2 mobile masts about 300 meters up the hill over there. But fortunately, we are in the dip. We're in a dip, so the signal is actually a lot stronger. It's about 3 times stronger at a restaurant 1.5 kilometers away down the hill than we are. We're kind of in this. So anyway, so yeah, so we live in this dip. There's don't really get the full impact of the mobile phone tower. It's not as low as it could be, obviously, but one advantage of having the 2 towers up there is they're not going to build another one closer to my house, which can happen in cities. And yeah, the power that we receive here is considerably less than any town, city that you might go to in most of the world now. We're kind of bombarded by these frequencies, and we're not really sure what they're doing to us. We're told that as long as they don't heat us up, we're fine. That is kind of the safety guidelines on mobile phones. So anyway, I'll leave it there, and tomorrow I'll talk about the SARS ratings of your phone and how they're calculated. Anyway, okay, take care guys, bye.